Snakes. Yeah. I've been seeing them. I've been looking for a lot of them. Where? Around our neighborhood.
What happened?
I saw one of the other
What?
we started driving to the pool. I almost ran one over on the industrial the other day. That's about as close as I want to
What?
on the street. They everywhere. Friendly. Our meeting is called to order. Please call the roll.
Mr. Buckner?
Here.
Reverend Campbell?
Here.
Mr. Gilstrap?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Here.
Mr. Raleigh?
Here.
Mayor Saunders?
Here.
Mr. Shanks? Here. Mr. Vogel?
Here. Please stand for invocation tonight, given by Council Member Fred O'Shanks. Remain standing for the pledge as well.
Dear Heavenly Father, we are gathered this evening to conduct business for the city. We ask for your sage wisdom and advice as we try to make the right decisions for our community. We thank you for all that our first responders and fire and rescue and police department do for our city. We ask that you watch over them as they do their business. We pray this all in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Shank. I'd like to invite Mr. Mark McFadden and Mr. Ken Gilly, motorcycle rider training program, Danville Community College, to receive this proclamation regarding Ride to Work. Good evening, gentlemen. Whereas scooters and motorcycles use comparatively less fuel, cause less pollution, and have less harmful impact on our infrastructure. And whereas scooters and motorcycles require only a fraction of space taken by other vehicles to park, thereby addressing an ongoing shortage in our city. And whereas the price of fossil fuels is growing and supply is diminishing. And whereas the use of fossil fuels continue to damage our health by adding to pollution and risking our future through global warming. And whereas our infrastructure repairs fail to keep pace with this degradation. And whereas, for these reasons, scooters and motorcycles offer a form of daily transportation to be encouraged. Now, therefore, I, Sherman M. Saunders, Mayor, do hereby proclaim Monday, June 20th, 2016, as Ride to Work Day, and encourage scooter and motorcycle riders to ride to work on that day in an effort to highlight the positive daily use of scooters and motorcycles. Given to my hand the 7th day of June, 2016. Gentlemen, thank you very much, and we'd love to have some remarks from both of you. And thank you all for training people to ride safely, and thank you for giving them a license after they pass your course.
Mayor's tricycle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Saunders, for again recognizing and proclaiming National Ride to Work Day on behalf of us 2- and 3-wheel motorcycle riders. And get out and ride, practice and improve those skills, get licensed, and ride to work, because we work to ride. Thank you.
Thank you. I saw you coming with a helmet, so I take it that you're riding today?
Every day.
Yes, sir. Mr. Gillen?
I was not able to ride today because my 17-year-old son has my motorcycle and he is out riding it today.
So, thank you very much. I believe this is the 6th year in a row that Danville has supported this. We thank you for the ability to come here and present these kind of things, and also for the ability to continue to teach people in the city how to ride a motorcycle safely. So, we look forward to it, and thank you all who ride. I know we've got multiple council members who ride, so thanks.
Thank you all very much. Under communication, those who wish to speak on any matter not on the agenda will be heard at this time. If you wish to speak on any agenda item, you will be heard when the item is considered. Welcome, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening.
Members of the City Council. My name is Paul Bacon. I'm the president of Dan Chem Technologies, the chemical plant just north of town here. Actually, half of our parking lot is in the city and the other part is in the county. I think several of you all have been out for some of our events over the last year and a half. I just wanted to express my appreciation for all of your support and the agreement we've worked out on a competitive power arrangement. So I think Mr. Whitfield is up to us over the next couple of days to finalize the agreement, but I think we're in pretty good shape. I wanted to let you know that based on this new power rate that we have, we're now competitive with our competitors in North Carolina, South Carolina, Wisconsin. Revenues this year are up about 8% year on year, and this agreement really helps us solidify our competitiveness in the toll chemical manufacturing area. I'm pleased to report we're relocating 2 new professional people to the area this year, and we're also adding about 5 or 6 new hourly jobs to our facility. So, our success going forward is due part to the support we've got here. I'd like to thank each of you individually that I met with, and please, I'd like to extend an invitation for you to come see our facility, and I'd be pleased to give you a tour. So, thank you for your time. Mr. Raleigh?
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Bacon, look, we thank you. You have a great plant. It's a plant I used to work with many, many years ago, and thank you for all you're doing for your workforce. You have a great workforce, and just keep up the good work. As we talked earlier, that 8% always sounds good to the home office, so
Yes, it does.
congratulations.
So thank you. I'm proud to live in Danville, and thank you for the support.
Yes.
I also heard 5 new jobs in county.
That's true.
5 new jobs. That's always good to hear. It means more. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, thank you. This is a very important sector of manufacturing, chemical manufacturing. So we certainly appreciate you. You know, as important as it is to attract new industries and new companies, I think it's even more important to enlarge the industries we have and increase jobs that way. And so certainly thank you for what you've done.
Mr. Gilstrap?
I think I heard 7 new jobs, 2
Right.
professional staff and 5 hourly, or is it a total of 5?
2 are replacements, but I'm bringing 2 new people to the area.
Okay, all right, great. Thank you, Mr. Bacon, and also Mr. Larkin. Thank you for working with our industry and your staff in resolving their concerns.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Anyone else? Yes, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. I see my time is haven't started, but anyway. Cecil Bridgeforth, I live at 709 Edmond Street in the historical city. I pastor Shallow Baptist Church in the forgotten neighborhood or historic neighborhood of Elmegro. In Elmegro, there are 2 houses that have been condemned, and they have been condemned for some time. And now, if you go by, it's on Maven Street, 2 of them, you can barely see the houses from the weeds and vines that have overtaken them. We do have a resident that lives next door to these condemned houses, and I'm wondering how much longer must they suffer the eyesore of these condemned buildings with weeds that house snakes, groundhogs, and any other vomits, rats. That is a hazard to them. I know that it's a historical neighborhood, but when you go through it, you have much questions as to the validity of that statement. Another concern is that once we tear these houses down, these condemned houses down, what is being done to revitalize the communities in which these houses have been removed? Are efforts being made to advertise or promote these areas for new residents coming into the city, or are these neighborhoods off limits, or does not be considered a viable place to live? But my concern tonight is the two houses that are overtaken by grass, weeds, and vines. Who is responsible for removing them and tearing them down? Or if there's any money available by the city to have them removed. That's my concern for tonight.
Thank you, sir, and staff will be in touch with you regarding your question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Hello,
Good evening. Welcome.
Sonia Ingram, President of the Danville Historical Society. I just wanted to come here tonight and hand out one of our recent newsletters to all the council members. And just briefly invite everyone to our upcoming program, which is going to be held at June 23rd at Blue Park Recreational Center. It's going to be a program from Patrick Womack on his book, A Son of Pennsylvania County Joins the Confederacy and Other Adventures. And I also wanted to invite you to our program in October, which will be about Edgar Allan Poe and his connections to Danville. And in October, we will be working with the Virginia Foundation for the Humanities on the Danville Civil Rights exhibit. And of course, in December, we'll have our annual holiday tour. I just wanted to give you those updates and invite you all to come to our programs.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate the invitation and the information. Okay, anyone else wish to speak? Anyone else? Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. My name is Carol Betts, and I moved here from Cleveland, Ohio, and I admire the trail. Every day, my husband and I would go walking, and this particular incident, as you know, where the dam was removed, we witnessed the child on the dam.
Just speak into your microphone.
I'm sorry.
Thank you so much.
We witnessed the child with his guardian, I don't know whether it's father, uncle, or whatever, on the dam fishing. And the words that came out of my mouth was, why is this man out here with this child and no night jacket? Well, we kept walking, came home, had lunch, listening to the news, and the child drowned. Now, I'm not saying that the dam is at fault. It's the adult. And I know that you want your votes to go with the dam being removed, but personally, I feel it is a relaxing, calming atmosphere if you really like nature, to sit at those benches and just watch that water go and the sound. Don't destroy the dam, not the other one, please. The one that's gone, when I go past there walking now, I said, oh, I wish they had left that alone. And I said, I'm not staying home and not put forth my voice about the second one. Please leave it there. If you have to put fences up, the adults need to accept responsibility, not the city. That's not their problem. And if I'm wrong, Lord forgive me, but that's just the way I feel.
Thank you.
My name is Faith Heiler, and I've written a lot of letters about this, but the dam should stay. The same reason, just look at, I've been down here almost 25 years from Pittsburgh. Rivers are very important, they're very beautiful. All you have to do is walk. The trail is there along the river. That's what we use it for. We use it and we look at the scenery. The scenery is the dams and the river. And as I had said in a letter, you look at the little trees that are stuck along the dams. You'll see the turtles out there, the ducks. That's what the children will walk by, see the ducks, the geese. They feed them, they're laughing. And I'll agree that a lot of it, they were tragic. Accidents are tragic, drownings were tragic. But a lot of it was, I believe, was human error. Yes. And we can't blame the dam for what parents won't do. And we could put signs every 2 feet, bells, whistles, and whatever. But the idiots, excuse me, are not going to pay attention. I just put a picture on Facebook a couple days ago about the beauty and the serenity of the dam. And at the far end of it, there was probably a man, I couldn't see real well, but he had somebody smaller than him out there fishing. So they're not gonna take responsibility. But we need the dam. The dam and the rivers go together. Yes. And we need it to be there.
I'd just like to add that in Cleveland, when you went to Lake Erie, it was just water, no dam or anything. And when I came here and saw the dam, it was a joy for me. It had a different sound, everything. And the serenity, if you like peace and like nature, it was a joy. And I just don't want to see that other dam go. Please, leave it where it is. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and welcome to Danville. Anyone else wish to speak? Anyone else? Thank you. The motion to approve our minutes for May 5th, 2016, Mr. Buckner, and second by Mr. Campbell. Discussion on the motion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Gilstrap?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Rowley?
Aye.
Mayor Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Shanks?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Old business, adopting an ordinance to appropriate funds for recreation enrichment program. Council, your pleasure. And Mr. Gilstrap.
Mr. Mayor, I move adoption of an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2016 budget appropriation ordinance to provide funds in the amount of $55,220 for a recreation enrichment program and the local in-kind share of $123,885 for a total appropriation of $179,105 and appropriate of same.
Okay, second by Mr. Jones. Discussion on the motion. Please call the roll.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Gilstrap?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Rowley?
Aye.
Mayor Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Shanks?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Adopting an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2016 budget appropriation ordinance to provide funds for the extension of the Riverwalk Trail. Mr. Campbell.
Mayor, I move for adopting ordinance amending the fiscal year 2016 budget appropriation ordinance for grants from the Virginia Department of Transportation in the amount of $305,195 to provide funds for the extension of the Northside Riverwalk Trail from the intersection of the Vance Trade Street to Commerce Street.
Second, Mr. Vice Mayor. Discussion on the motion. Please call the roll.
Mr. Gilstrap?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Rowley?
Aye.
Mayor Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Shanks?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
We need these three separately coming up, Mr. Attorney.
Yes, sir.
Okay, consideration of the fiscal year 2017 city budget, capital, and special projects plan, and we need to vote on each of the three separately. The first one, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Yes, I'd like to move a resolution approving the budgets of the various funds of the city of Danville for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2017.
Second by Mr. Raleigh. Discussion on the motion. Mr. Jones?
Mr. Mayor, the concerns and welfare of all the citizens, and first and foremost, were very important to me. Their calls and their emails did not go unheard or unread. Several citizens has voiced how they're experiencing additional burdens in the tax increase. If I could request for that item to be pulled for further discussion, I would, but however, it would be careless on my part and wouldn't be enough votes. So therefore, I am still opposed to electric rate increase and voted against it, and at the last council meeting. I just wish that we could have had more discussion on it. I do not want to hinder the pay performance for our employees, And I do not want to hinder the pay increase for the DPS staff who so deserve it, so I'll be voting against it. But I just wanted to set the record straight that I'm very opposed to elected rate increase. I just wish we would have had more discussion on it. I know what the consultant said. I know what the, no disrespect to the utility commission. I just, city employees just is very tough on me, Mr. Mayor. So I will be voting for the pay increase and voting for the budget. I want to thank the staff for all that you all have done on this budget. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Further discussion? Mr. Vice Mayor?
Well, I take the opposite tack because, you know, we have to, at some point, increase our utility rates. If not, then we got to make it up somewhere else, and we'll end up making it somewhere else with a tax increase on real estate and personal property. So, you know, you've got to pay your bills, and this is something, understandably, we should have done several years ago. We should have never let the public underpay their rates, which was at the advice of the consultant at that time. We set the rates low, and we shouldn't have. But now we're having to make up for it. And if you don't have these, if you don't make your utility budget balance and you give less to the city funds, then you're going to end up having to make up your money elsewhere, and there'll be a tax increase, which a real tax increase for real estate and personal property taxes. So I'm voting for this, the budget. And there are many things in the budget that we need to vote for, and I don't think holding up the budget because of one issue like that is very responsible. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Shanks?
Yeah, I'd like to just follow up with Councilman Miller's comments. The Utility Commission has been wrestling for 2 years because of various matters that are outside of the control of the Utility Commission, including the fact that the government no longer sees fit to have coal power plants, clean coal power plants. And so there are no more coal power plants being built ever again unless something changes. There's not one under construction today. And coal was the product that provided cheap electricity for the United States. And so we're not going to ever see, right now compressed gas and natural gas is inexpensive, but in terms of a standard like coal has been for many, many years, we're never going to see anything like that again. And it's important to realize that, and I'm saying this for the benefit of the citizens, for the future, because all we can do is a utility operator or utility commission is try to keep the rate of increase down. The fact of the matter is the rates will continue to increase going forward. The city has energy efficiency programs that are the best bet. The best bet are these rebate programs the city offers to cut your electric bill, to cut your electric consumption. Because consumption you can cut, but the bill very likely will continue to rise as we go forward. So I hope that everyone will take advantage, all the citizens of Danville and the customers in the county that are Danville Power customers, take advantage of these rebate programs that are available, because that is the best hedge that we have on keeping our rates from going up faster than they will go up. So in the end, the rates needed to be raised in order for Danville Power and Light to continue to operate on a stable basis. And we did try to protect the ratepayers over the last seven or 8 years, where we undercollected, knowing that power costs were supposed to come down when new generation sources were available for the city in the AMP region of the network. And unfortunately, we under-collected, and therefore Danville Power and Light's a little bit in a bind financially, and it has no way to not collect the power costs that they are now being charged. So it's important. It's very difficult. I know it's a burden for the citizens, but it's very important that Danville Power and Light continue to operate on a stable basis and stay a healthy enterprise. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gilstrap?
I have a question, Mayor, and it may be a point of order, but I thought Councilman Jones' question was, could it be separated from the, you didn't
No.
want to separate it from the
No.
rest of the budget
No,
and
I
vote
said,
on it
I said
separately?
it could, I knew it couldn't be, no.
Well, my question is, can it? Can it? Can you separate the utilities?
I'm not sure if I understand the question.
utility vote
Mr.
is-
Larkin, you understand the question?
That took place at the last meeting.
So that's already done with. It's not part of this budget we're voting on tonight.
Excuse me. Mr. Larkin, you understand the question? Do you have any response to that?
Perhaps, but I'm not sure that it can be. I think the budget includes the rates as well, so.
It includes
It would
everything.
take a lot more analysis and work to make any changes to reduce, to take away the increase and find some other way of making up that revenue or cutting the expenses.
And just for clarity, we voted on it last time, but it's also included in the overall budget today. I would not want to pull it out.
It was separately
My-
voted upon
Yeah.
last time, yes.
Question is then, how much total revenue does this provide for the city? And how will that, and percentages to include that to the general fund? And what would that equate in a tax increase?
It's about $1.8 million annually, from what I recollect from Jason, which is about 9 cents tax rate.
Mr. Mayor, this is what I did not want this to happen. This is what I was saying earlier, that I wish we could have had the further discussion before this, and I don't want to hold this budget up. There's too many important things in this budget. What's happening now is the conversation I wish we could have had going forward. So I'm sorry about that, and thank you, Mr. Shanks, and for what you're doing in the Utilities Commission and Utilities Commission, but I don't want to hold this up because there's too many important things in this budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, just a positive thing. One problem, Mr. Shanks explained it very well, but one problem is we're hostage to transmission charges. There are people like middlemen who control the power lines, and they can charge what they want to because they can, if you don't pay their rates, they can cut off supply. So, there's certain things we can't control, and that's not just us, but everybody. One thing we are doing positive, we are working now to have our own solar plant here, which is, we don't have to have transmission charge for that because it'll be local. So we'll be able to produce some more of our own power locally, and that will help alleviate rate increases and help the consumer. So we are trying to do some positive things. Thank you.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes, Vice Mayor, we left out congestion also is an issue. But this is one of the hardest decisions that I had to make being on council. And Mr. Shanks is right. I think it was about maybe 4 years ago that running for city council, we said we wanted to lower rates and to bring utility bills down. And we did. And I think you stated that we're going to pay now or pay later.
Yeah.
And we didn't listen to it. If we kept everything like it was, we probably wouldn't have this problem right now. But the citizens were asking for lower rates or to stabilize the rates, and we did that. The problem now is that we have a problem. We need more reserves. So it's a very hard decision. And I've had several calls, some of the citizens complaining about this particular issue. It's not that we want to, and nobody wants to see any type of increase on utilities, but we have a serious problem. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Further discussion? Mr. Vogler?
Yeah, I just want to make clear real quick, we had the vote on the utility increase, and I and Councilman Jones voted against it, and I'm on record doing that. This is a vote on the budget as a whole, and I don't think you're ever going to find a perfect budget, but there were some things in this budget that I feel strongly in favor of, and so I just want to make that clear. I'm already on the record against the utility increase, and won't go into all the reasons. We've already had that vote. But I will be voting in favor of the budget tonight because of the other things that are in it, and I've already been on the record against the other part of it. Thank you.
Further discussion? Raising rates is never desirable, but oftentimes necessary. As said before, some things we didn't do in the past, we must do now, and no need to spend a lot of time talking about that. We've already talked about that. I also know that, or understand rather, that there are others who are planning to oppose this increase as well. This issue has been studied by the staff, by the commission itself. We talked about it in council meeting, and I think, at least in my opinion, it's the thing that we need to do. Don't want to do it, but need to do it for fiscal purposes and for budgetary purposes. Please call the roll.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Raleigh.
Aye.
Mayor Saunders.
Aye.
Mr. Shanks.
Aye.
Mr. Vogler.
Aye.
Mr. Buckner.
Aye.
Reverend Campbell.
Aye.
Mr. Gilstrap.
Aye.
2017 Capital and Special Projects Plan. Council, your pleasure. Mr. Vogler.
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt a resolution approving the fiscal year 2017 capital and special projects plan for the city of Danville, Virginia.
Is there a second? Mr. Buckner. Discussion on the motion. Mr. Gilstrap.
As the item previously stated by Councilman Vogler and Councilman Jones, there's one item that I oppose, but because I don't oppose all of it, I will support it.
Further discussion? Please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Raleigh.
Aye.
Mayor Saunders.
Aye.
Mr. Shanks.
Aye.
Mr. Vogler.
Aye.
Mr. Buckner.
Aye.
Reverend Campbell.
Aye.
Mr. Gilstrap.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
Aye.
Budget appropriation ordinance. Mr. Buckner.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve a budget appropriation ordinance for fiscal year 2017.
Second by Mr. Raleigh. Discussion on the motion. Please call the roll.
Mr. Raleigh.
Aye.
Mayor Saunders.
Aye.
Mr. Shanks.
Aye.
Mr. Vogler.
Aye.
Mr. Buckner.
Aye.
Reverend Campbell.
Aye.
Mr. Gilstrap.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller.
Aye.
New business, adopting an ordinance to rezone property from Old Town residential to attached residential. Open the public hearing. Anyone wish to speak?
Mr. Mayor, members of council.
Good evening, sir.
My name is Gus Steyer, and I am the applicant. It's a pretty straightforward application. What we're trying to do is get the two lots on Westover Drive so that we can have access to a larger parcel that's actually on Fairview Avenue. The parcel on Fairview Avenue is actually not accessible from Fairview Avenue because of the topography. In addition to getting the lot rezoned to allow for that access, it would also allow us to construct a duplex on the property. I believe there's some photographs that are being passed around that is the current structure on these. It's actually two lots. It may look like it's two separate structures, but they're actually joined together. And so what we would do would be to tear those two structures down, or that structure down, and build a duplex. I don't know if it's in your package. I did provide with Mr. Gilly a site plan, front elevation, and a floor elevation. And so if you all have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. We didn't have any opposition at Planning Commission. I did send out letters to all the neighbors and have not gotten any response from anybody on that. So I don't know whether we'll have any opposition tonight. But anyway, if there are any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Thank you, sir.
You want
Anyone
these
else wish to speak? Anyone else? Okay, now the question, Mr. Shanks.
Mr. Dyer. I saw the site plan and I read your letter, and I thought you were planning on developing a duplex on those two lots.
Yes.
Was there any, I realize the property behind is owned attached residential also.
Right.
But was there any discussion of extending that driveway through?
From Oak Park?
From Westover, the two duplexes, down to the 3.25 acres down at the bottom?
Well, ultimately, I hoped at some point to be able to develop that 3.25 acre lot. And this would be the only way that I could access it.
So your purpose of developing this lot is to get a road down into there?
Primarily. It's a two-pronged approach. One of them is that since we will have this piece of property for access, that it also would allow us to construct a duplex on it.
Well, okay. I had been approached by several people in Naples and Fairview.
Right.
Concerned with your previous application.
Right.
And I thought your previous application was about developing those pieces of property
Yes.
down.
And I withdrew that. Yes, sir.
Yes, but this proposal here intends to eventually extend that road down and develop that piece of property. Is that?
Hopefully.
Okay, that's all the
Okay,
questions I
all right.
have. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question for staff when it's time.
Okay. Anyone else wish to speak during our public hearing period? Close the public hearing. Mr. Shanks?
Mr. Gillett? I don't know that I have a problem with the application. I just want to make sure everything has been disclosed and there was no contrary feedback. disclosed in the planning commission meeting that that duplex site on Westover was gonna eventually be an access to the property down across from Naples and Fairview?
Yes.
Nobody had any problems with that?
The other property is already zoned detached residential and could be developed. It was mentioned at this point that the driveway could extend to that point in the future, yes. It was mentioned at the planning commission.
Well, I knew that it was attached residential and it could be combined and made one lot. I realized that, and that's why I asked the questions I did. And you're of the impression that the neighbors and the planning commission were aware of that?
We didn't have any neighbors come to the meeting. The neighbors were notified, same as they were from the initial request. The initial request is to go to multifamily. We did have substantial opposition to that. He withdrew that request. The property was already zoned detached residential, which allowed the development. He's asking for this, to build a duplex and then to extend a roadway. The neighbors had concerns with access off of Fairview, which he said would probably be impractical due to topographical conditions. This alleviated some of the concerns that we felt the neighbors had. We didn't receive any additional opposition from them.
So with attached residential, the applicant can, if the site will allow it, can have 8 units per acre,
If the site will allow, correct.
multifamily units.
Attached residential, not multifamily.
Townhouses.
Townhouse style, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gilly. The public hearing has closed, so council, your pleasure. Mr. Jones?
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt an ordinance rezoning OT-R 010 residential to A-R attached residential district, parcel IDs 50393 and 50394, otherwise known as Grid 0715, Block 011, parcels 00006 and 0005, respectively of the City of Danville, Virginia, zoning district map.
Second, Mr. Gilstrap. Discussion on the motion. Ms. James?
I'm just concerned, and I've been approached by several families on Naples and Fairview, and I'm just concerned that this is a backdoor way into getting a multifamily project built on the property that the neighborhood was so opposed to in the last application. So I don't know, I mean, the neighborhood hasn't shown up, but I don't know that they understood. And I feel I'm concerned about that. That's all I have to say. I'm going to probably be voting opposed to it.
Okay, further discussion? Mr. Vogler?
To follow up on Fred's point, I guess maybe Clark would answer. Any future development, though, would have to come before planning. I mean, it's what we're voting on tonight would not allow.
Just for this property. Anything else has to come before the council. Okay, the planning commission and then the council.
Mayor, may I?
Sure.
All right, let me make sure I understood. Lee's question and Clark's answer were the same, related. As if this goes through and the property fronting on Westover Drive is zoned attached residential, then it does become the same zoning as the property down on Fairview. Therefore, it could be consolidated and allowed by right to have the attached residential townhouse.
Actually, you are correct on that.
So there wouldn't be
There would be no second shot.
I don't believe so. But I will defer to the zoning czar.
Zoning czar, I love that term. The property that's on Fairview is already zoned attached residential. Mr. Dyer could come in tomorrow and submit a plan to develop that property, and we would have to permit it as long as it complied with the regulations. Access is the issue to that property. Could he build a bridge or something over the gully that's there? Possibly. If you throw enough money at anything is possible. The question is it practical? And that's a decision that he has to make. This allows for development through Westover by an extension of a driveway. It doesn't prohibit the development of the piece of property that the neighbors had concerns with to begin with. So tying the two together is a little difficult from a planning standpoint. We're dealing with just property on Westover. It does allow for separate access to it, but the property that was on Fairview already had access. It has frontage on a public street and could be developed. It's just, is this a more practical alternative? Yes.
Mayor, if I may, since it seems like in essence we're really dealing with two properties here, and one of which I don't feel comfortable in that we've heard public feedback. I don't feel comfortable voting to approve something when in essence it's clearing the way for this other property without hearing public feedback on that. The opposition to it, I've not heard because we didn't hear anything tonight from anybody. But in essence, what you're saying is if we clear this tonight, that allows the other one, there's nothing.
The other one could develop without.
Now, but
it
there's
could
no
develop right
access
now.
to it.
Without access, well, it has access from Fairview. It's a difficult access, a very difficult access. If you would deny this request to rezone this property on Westover, the property on Fairview could still develop. This action tonight would not stop that, or it really could not stop it. This makes it more practical to develop, but it does not affect the developability of that property on Fairview if he wishes to construct some sort of other means to get in it. And that's from a planning standpoint. I can't say that he asked to upzone the property previously to increase the density. And that's where the neighbors came in and spoke in opposition to it. The zoning is already in place for development of the property. This just allows for it to be done slightly with a different way and allow for access not off of Fairview. The neighbors had concerns with access off of Fairview. This would allow access directly off of Westover as opposed to it. It would, in our opinion, alleviate some of the concerns that they expressed with that up-density rezoning.
Okay, now we have a motion on the floor, properly second in discussion on the motion. The staff has recommended that the ordinance be approved by council. I want to make sure that staff address any question that we have, and they're doing that. And I don't know, Mr. Larkin, if you have anything to add to this. So I guess my question is the concern that something by the person proposing a project is doing something out of order, out of compliance, or is it concerned that something has not been completed in terms of the study for this project? Is there something missing? Is that the concern, Ms. Jenks?
Well, and you know, I'm not trying to make a mountain out of a molehill, but I've seen the site plan and I've read the letter that came in with the application, and the site plan clearly shows a duplex and a parking lot ending midway through the lot, a parking drive ending midway through the lot, and limits of construction below that. I mean, if you look at the site plan that's in, I mean, nothing can be clearer. So if I'm a neighbor, I would say, okay, that sounds pretty good. But then I hear somebody tonight say that they're gonna push the driveway through and develop the property behind it. That's, to me, it can be done because it'll be zoned the same. But to me, if that hadn't been disclosed to the neighborhood, I think we're not doing the citizens, I think we're doing a disservice.
You wish to respond, Mr. Gilly?
Denying the rezoning on Westover may not stop the development of the property on Fairview. Fairview already has the zoning in place. It has utilities available, it has frontage on the street. It meets all of our requirements. It is a difficult access. Could access be provided to it if it's, you know, enough money is put into it? Yes. So from my end as a staff, is that property developable as is? Yes. We looked at, would this provide another means to get in and out of the property? Yes, and that's why we recommended approval of it. So trying to say this would stop the development potentially the neighborhood doesn't like, this won't do that. All we can do is work with the developer when he comes in to develop that property on Fairview to make sure that we address any concerns that were expressed to us when the applicant tried to upzone the property.
Yeah, to the bottom line, to the best of your knowledge, everything is in compliance.
To the best of my knowledge, everything is in compliance, yes.
Ms. Gilstrap?
Mr. Gilly, is it my understanding that the Planning Commission understood all this and voted unanimously to recommend the project?
Yes, that's the way I understood it.
Thank
We
Mr.
tried to
Raleigh?
explain it to them that way.
I would just note that Mr. Dyer's property, I guess to the east of this, that he's developed, Oak Creek, has been a very successful development. I know many people that live there, and I'm very, very pleased with it. And I feel like having more of this next to it, but with a different ingress and egress would make sense. Plus, the bottom part of that property looks like all the way across is all woods, even on properties on either side of the two that we're talking about now. Is that correct? At least the way I see it.
Yes.
It's all woods.
Okay, Ms. Vogler?
Yeah, I just want to clarify that I'm typically in favor of when a developer wants to come in and do a new project. I just wanted to make sure, because Fred brought up some good points, that we all had a grasp on what we're doing here. But from what I understand, and now that hearing it all, and we didn't have any opposition to it tonight, I'll be supporting it. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Campbell?
Yes, 2 comments. I understand what Fred is saying. The board unanimously voted for it. Number 2, it's going to make the area, what's there now, look better. I will be voting for this. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Further discussion?
Yes, sir, just one point.
Okay.
I'm not against this project, and Mr. Dyer's done a wonderful project over at Oak Court, or whatever it's called. I am only concerned about the neighbors not being told what was being done here. And that's my only concern. And if Ken Gilly says the planning commission was fully aware of that, then I guess my concern is for naught. But I am concerned that the neighborhood wasn't fully informed of what the intent was. There would have been public hear problem. Thank you.
Okay, if you call the roll.
Mayor Saunders.
Aye.
Mr. Shanks.
Aye.
Mr. Vogler.
Aye.
Mr. Buckner.
Aye.
Reverend Campbell.
Aye.
Mr. Gilstrap.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Rowley.
Aye.
Okay, Madam Clerk, item B or C? The next one. B. Consideration of adopting an ordinance to grant a special use permit for multifamily dwelling as principal use. Open the public hearing. Anyone wish to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, I'm Corey Teague from the Economic Development Office. The developer of this property was unable to attend tonight, so he had asked that I step in his place. This property is located at 549 High Street. As you may recall, there are 2 buildings on one parcel. One building about a year ago had collapsed, and this group out of Winston-Salem is seeking a special use permit in order to convert the building that remains into 23 market rate units. Since it is in the central business district, it does require a special use permit to have 100% residential use versus a commercial component. I'm here to answer any questions.
Mr. Campbell?
I drove by it today and looked at that property. Man, it seems like it's so hopeless. And you're going to be able, they will be able to rehab that.
Yes, sir, they have plans in place and outdoor balconies and entrances into each of the units, and they're very confident in renovating this building. They specialize in properties on their last leg.
Okay.
Yes.
The floors and everything is sound?
No, all of that has to be redeveloped.
What about the walls?
There's a lot of structural work that will need to be done to this building.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Mr. Vogler?
Yeah, this is a good project, Corey, and thank you for coming to be here tonight. I mean, we all know the success of the River District, and especially with the residential units. I mean, they can't be built fast enough, and they're filling up. And so now we're seeing this growth spread out to the western portion of the River District. Is good to see, and so I will happily approve this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're still in public hearing. Anyone else wish to speak? Anyone else? Close public hearing. Council, your pleasure. Mr. Campbell.
May I move for adoption ordinance granting a special use permit to have a multifamily dwelling as a principal use in accordance with Article 3.K, Section C, Item 10 of the Code of the City of Danville, Virginia, 1986, as amended at 549 High Street, subject to conditions.
Second by Mr. Buckner. Discussion on the motion. Discussion. Will you call the roll?
Mr. Shanks.
Yes.
Mr. Vogler.
Aye.
Mr. Buckner.
Aye.
Reverend Campbell.
Aye.
Mr. Gilstrap.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Rowley.
Aye.
Mayor Saunders.
Aye. Adopting an ordinance to grant a special use permit for the operation of agriculture in accordance with the city code. Open the public hearing. Anyone wish to speak? Anyone? Close the public hearing. Council, your pleasure. Council, your pleasure. Mr. Vogler?
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt an ordinance granting a special use permit for the operation of agriculture in accordance with Article 3B, Section C, Item 1 of the Code of the City of Danville, Virginia, 1986, as amended at parcel ID 75506, otherwise known as Grid 1618, Block 003, Parcel 00004 of the City of Danville, Virginia, zoning district map, subject to conditions.
Okay, second, Mr. Buckner. Discussion on the motion. Ms. Jenks.
Yes, I had a couple of questions for Mr. Gilly. Sure. Hey, Ken. This is new code language, so I just wanted to check on a few things because it could be precedent for other code language later down. You have 4 or 5 conditions listed that the Planning Commission has agreed to. How did you come about, like the first one, how did you establish that each type of animal needed to have 3 acres? Is that some data that's available somewhere?
The code has a limitation on the number of animals per acre. The zoning code presently does. So we did simple math, the amount of acres versus divided by that number comes to our limitation.
Okay. So maybe I should have asked this question the first time the code brought it up. Is that number from an established agricultural entity that is knowledgeable with these type of things? Or?
Yes, when we did this initially, we went to the Ag Service. We did internet searches.
As long as it's...
I'm an urban planner, not an ag planner, so we had someone do a lot of research, and I've got a new planner who's fresh out of graduate school who's very up on this thing. So.
Okay, but we went to ag experts and
yes,
found
we definitely did. I'm not an ag expert at all.
And the next question is with regard to distance waste material can be from a well, 250 feet. That's an awful lot of footage. Is that based on some health department criteria?
They talked to the health department. There's also an American Planning Association paper on distances from private wells and the storage of certain types of materials. So we gathered that information.
250 feet is typical?
Actually, a little further may be typical. Okay. But based on the layout of the property and everything else, we felt that was a sufficient number.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that those numbers have been researched and not setting precedent to something later too. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Further discussion? You call the roll.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Gilstrap?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Rowley?
Aye.
Mayor Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Shanks?
Aye.
Adopt an ordinance to rezone property from Old Town Residential to Tobacco Warehouse Commercial. Open the public hearing. Anyone wish to speak? Welcome, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor,
Good
members
evening.
of council. My name is Gary Watson. I'm the director of the Danville Redevelopment Housing Authority. I'm just here to answer any questions council might have about the Housing Authority's plans for this building at 502 Franklin Street.
It's basically office space, is that correct, for your rental?
For the homeownership program, yeah. We're moving the program from our location at 299 Garfield to this site. It'll provide more room to do more educational activities, and we're hoping to expand the program and help more people.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're in public hearing. Anyone else wish to speak? Anyone else? Close the public hearing. Council, your pleasure. Mr. Rowley.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt an ordinance rezoning from OT-R, Old Town Residential, to TW-C, Tobacco Warehouse Commercial, 502 Franklin Street, otherwise known as Grid 2718, Block 014, Parcel 00003, for the City of Danville, Virginia zoning map.
Okay, is there a second? Mr. Vogler, discussion on the motion. Please call the roll.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Gilstrap?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Abstain.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Rowley?
Aye.
Mayor Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Shanks? Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Approving resolution pertaining to VDOT's revenue sharing program and funding. Council, your pleasure. Mr. Campbell.
Mr. Mayor, I move for adopting a resolution providing assurance of a commitment of the City of Danville to fund its financial obligation under the Virginia Department of Transportation Revenue Sharing Program and authorizing the city manager to execute all agreements and addendums for projects approved by the Virginia Department of Transportation.
Okay, a second. Mr. Raleigh. Discussion on the motion. Please call the roll.
Reverend Campbell.
Aye.
Mr. Gilstrap.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Rowley.
Aye.
Mayor Saunders.
Aye.
Mr. Shanks.
Aye.
Mr. Vogler.
Aye.
Mr. Buckner.
Aye.
Adopt an ordinance pertaining to the personnel system of the city of Danville. Council, your pleasure. Mr. Raleigh.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt an ordinance amending the personnel system of the city of Danville, providing for the classification, compensation, and employee development for employment positions of the city.
Second by Mr. Jones. Discussion on the motion. Please call the roll.
Mr. Gilstrap.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Rowley.
Aye.
Mayor Saunders.
Aye.
Mr. Shanks.
Aye.
Mr. Vogler.
Aye.
Mr. Buckner.
Aye.
Reverend Campbell.
Aye.
Adopt an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2016 budget appropriation ordinance to provide for revenues from Virginia Compensation Board. Council, your pleasure. Council, your pleasure. Mr. Raleigh.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2016 budget appropriation ordinance to provide for revenues from the Virginia Compensation Board in the amount of $109,974 for the purpose of purchasing a vehicle, vehicle equipment, office supplies, and temporary personnel, and appropriating the same for first reading.
Okay, is there a second? Mr. Gilstrap. Discussion of the motion. First reading. Adopting an ordinance to appropriate funds from Duke Energy. Mr. Buckner.
Mayor, I move that we approve an ordinance amending fiscal year 2016 budget appropriation ordinance to provide for the appropriation of settlement funding from Duke Energy Carolinas in reference to the coal ash spill for a total appropriation of $2,364,650.
Second, Mr. Gilstrap. Discussion on the motion. First reading. Communication, Mr. Manager.
Yes, in the most recent edition of Virginia Town and City magazine, the city of Danville was featured for its propane-powered fleet on page 5. Just wanted to point that out to everyone and congratulate the city council on their innovative idea to have some vehicles in our fleet, including buses and trucks, be powered by propane instead of gasoline. It's a real success story, and it's being shared throughout the state, and I wanted to point that out to you all. Thank you very much.
You need to point out, also in that magazine, we were congratulated for the Virginia Main Street city. We got that's in the same magazine.
I haven't gotten past
That's-
page 5.
That's twice in one magazine.
Thank you.
Mr. Attorney.
Nothing this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
Nothing, sir.
Okay, please call the roll.
Mr. Buckner.
Nothing tonight, Mayor, thank you.
Reverend Campbell.
Two things real quickly. I just want to salute Mr. Clark, being appointed as a director, board of directors for the Lawyers Weekly. Salute you. Glad to see how you've been used in that position. And I think there's some future announcements of economic jobs coming to the area pretty soon. So we're happy to see that we have more industry coming to the area. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Gilstrap.
Yes, thank everyone for attending. It's always good to have participation from citizens, business, and industry. Thank you very much. Also, I'd like to congratulate Clark on being elected president of the Law Government Attorneys Association. And a question for the mayor: does the proclamation you read at the beginning include your tricycle?
Yes, sir, it does.
Tricycle.
And my bicycle too, and my trike, and my other trike.
Tricycle.
That's all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
That's cheap gas.
Mr. Jones.
President Clark, congratulations. Many of us have attended several walks and forums and other events to address and discuss the violence in our community. I want to thank everyone for all they're doing to help discuss and bring about anything that we can do about this violence in the community, and encourage everyone to please continue working together to help improve. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Miller.
I also want to thank people for showing up. It gets real depressing if we get here and there's two people in the audience. It's like there's nothing important being discussed, and there are a lot of important issues we do discuss. So it's good to get input. I just want to add on to what our city manager said. You know, twice in one magazine we were complimented. The word is out. Danville's doing things right. We're moving upward. People are actually coming to Danville and to try to find out what we're doing right and how we're doing it. So this has changed dramatically from 5 years ago. When I rode on a bus to the Virginia Municipal League with the mayor of Alexandria, he was saying that things really look bad in Danville. You know, you've lost your industries. You all are really depressed down there, aren't you? And I tried to tell him, no, we're going to come out of it. Well, last year when I rode with him, he was congratulating us on what we were doing. And he said he'd like to come down sometime and see what we're doing right and what he could do to help his city. So the biggest problem we have right now is not the people outside, it's the people inside Danville. We got to convince our own citizens to talk positive about the city. Things are improving. And I want to give a big shout out to Rick Barker and Steve Del Giorno for having the faith in our city. They're going to transform the Exxon station on Main Street to a coffee shop, a restaurant, wine bar. This is perfect for that area near the museum. This repurposing these old stations has worked in Martinsville. It's worked in Charlottesville, near where my son lives. These are nice, turn into nice restaurants. And I just want to thank you that they had the faith in our city to invest in this and convert this into a good restaurant. And finally, don't forget Music on Main next Thursday. These are the bands they've had so far have been outstanding. And the North Theater, don't forget the North Theaters. We need to support it. Friday night they have Comedy Hour. And the two comedians they had last time were awesome. One of them came from Charlotte and one from D.C. area. So he's bringing in comedians. I mean, if you want to go and laugh till your ribs, split, go to Comedy Hour at the Old North. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Raleigh.
Mr. Mayor, I don't like to come with a problem without at least one solution, possible solution, but I don't have a solution for this. So I just want to bring up, we got a geese problem, a big-time geese problem. And I've had two business owners contact me this week that their customers can't park, and when they do, they can't take one step, and you know what they're going to step in. And I've had two. And I've got pictures of as many as 60 to 80 geese in a parking lot at a business owner. Now we've got a geese crossing, and I'm telling you, it's going to be an accident there. People go through there fairly quickly. It's a 35-mile-an-hour zone anyway, and if you're not really watching closely, people are stopping. But we got a geese problem. You know, we talked about all of this a couple of years ago about feeding wild animals, and we tried to look on the trail at certain places. But I don't know that anybody wouldn't say we don't have a geese problem. Now, I have no idea how to even attempt to go about that, but it's getting very filthy. Our businesses along the river are complaining of geese, you know what, in their parking lot, and their people having to not be able to park because so many are in those lots. I think I'm on my way out, but I just think it needs to be looked at. Again, I don't know what others, I haven't researched it enough. I will do that to see what others are doing. But it has really become, to me, it's just a nastiness issue. They do two things, that's eat grass and you know what. So and very quickly. But I'm really worried about our businesses along the river, and I'm really worried about that crossing where we know they go across there at the Kentucky Fried Chicken just right in now. And I'm just worried somebody's going to get hurt, and it's not going to be the geese. So I bring it up. I'm open for discussion, and I definitely will research it and what other people are doing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Shanks.
I just have to say, in response to Mr. Raleigh, I guess it's time to flew the coop.
There you go.
That's all I have.
Mr. Vogel.
This will be a first. I have nothing to add tonight, Mayor.
All right.
Mayor Saunders.
I'll say to our city manager, good job this morning. You spoke with regards to your vision for our city and our region. You did a great job. and really very proud of you. To our city attorney, congratulations to you as well. Danville certainly showing a lot of state leadership with you being the president of the Local Attorneys Association. So good things are happening in our city, great people representing our city, and thank you all very much. Meeting adjourned.